portion, and it reads, "And ye shall go forth and grow up as calves of the stall." I'm going to say it one more time. "And you shall go forth and grow up as calves of the stall." Our thought this morning is empowered by prophecy. Grow up. Look at your neighbor and say, "Neighbor, you are about to be empowered by a prophetic word." And that word is grow up. Amen. You may be seated. You may be seated. This morning it is our prayer sincerely that you are able to digest what the Spirit of the Lord is about to release in your midst. I do understand, because of the magnitude of this word, that it may seem unfamiliar to some of you. But I want you to know that it is necessary for where you are in your life. God is so cognizant of where you are and what you need, that as opposed to merely giving you the resources, he understands that there's so much power in his word that even when the resources run out, that the word is still sustainable. I'm going to say that to you one more time. God could easily cause you to win the lottery. God could easily cause you to go to the ATM machine and see that there are extra 3 zeros at the end of your withdrawal statement. However, he understands that those things in and of themselves are temporal. And so then God chooses with his infinite wisdom to give you, to supply to you, to release in your life a word, because he understands that that word can withstand time. It can withstand criticism. It can withstand rejection. It can withstand misunderstanding. It can withstand the haters in your life. I just want you to understand, God understands that he can give you a word to the point where that word does not need affirmation nor confirmation. God can give you a word because he understands that that word does not need you to believe it for it to come to fruition. I wish I had somebody in the house to understand that God's word is powerful all by itself. It doesn't need you to amen it. It doesn't need you to touch and agree with it. It doesn't need you to pray for it. It doesn't even need you to ask for it. In fact, God will send his word. And so this morning, God has methodically released not just an ordinary word, but a prophetic word this morning. And the reason being is that a prophetic word is fuel to your spirit man. I want you to get this. A prophetic word is fuel to your spirit man. In as much as the negativity that people can say that fuel your mind, then God has to offset that by sending a prophetic word to fuel your spirit man. Because sometimes the barrage of negativity begins to overwhelm us, that sometimes our spirit man needs a little help in believing what God has said, because my circumstances don't often reflect what God has said. And so then God sends a prophetic word because it is able, Channing, to transcend your situation. It is able to go beyond your circumstances. It is not predicated, Cookie, upon anything other than God said it, and that settles it. In fact, according to 1 Corinthians, the 14th chapter, look at verse 22. Listen what he says here. He says, "But prophesying serveth not for them," watch, "that don't believe. But prophesying, or prophetic word, is for the believer." That's right. I want you to get that. He says that when you hear a prophetic word, it's not for the non-believer, but it serves its purpose for the individual who has the audacity of prophetic trust. Did you hear that? The empowerment is released in my life from the prophetic word because I have or I exercise what is called prophetic trust or faith. Because make no mistake, if you're going to believe in the prophetic, it won't take or you cannot use an ordinary faith. Are y'all hearing what I'm saying in this place? And so the empowerment that comes from the prophetic word is only released through the magnitude of my abilities to have a prophetic faith. Are y'all hearing what I'm saying? This is why the word empowered means to enable, to authorize, to strengthen, to make powerful, to establish or to re-establish. It is to restore, it is to augment or to make something better, improve on it, to develop something greater. And so then when God decides, he decides because some of you have prayed and said, God, use me. Some of you have prayed and said, God, I want to be better. I know you heard the song better. It's going to get better. But some of you pray, God, make me better. And so then God's response to you is to rescind a prophetic word. And so that he understands that prophetic word, precious, must be coupled. They must be assigned. It must be attached. It must be harnessed with a prophetic trust. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Because, again, I have to say that the prophetic word is for the believer. Yes. So if you're not a believer, if you don't believe in the prophetic, this message is not for you. All right. My goodness. My goodness. Can we go a little bit deeper with this? If you would, look at Jeremiah, the 9th chapter, verse 23 through 24. He says, thus saith the Lord, let not the wise man glory in his wisdom, neither let a mighty man glory in his might. Let not the rich man even glory in his riches, but let him that glorieth glory in this, that he understandeth and knoweth me. Oh my God, that I am the Lord which exercises loving kindness, judgment, and righteousness in the earth. For in these things I, the Lord, I delight in them. And so he says here, watch this, that word glory is the linchpin here for our understanding. That word is also parallel or synonymous with trust. So he says, let not the wise man trust in his wisdom, neither let him trust in his might. Don't even let the rich man trust in his riches, but let him that trust in this. Trust in the fact that you understand me and know me. And know that when I send a prophetic word, I'm sending the word not just for you to say you received it, but I'm sending it because I want to empower you. I want to empower you. This is why Paul told the church in Corinth, he said, don't trust in worldly riches. Don't trust in wisdom. Don't trust in your might, but trust in knowing and understanding God. This is why, Lady Benton, your favorite passage, he says in the first chapter, God chooses the foolish things. The weak things, the base things, the things that are despised, the things which are not. Those things God chooses. Why? That the flesh, no flesh, should glory in his presence. And so then the reason God does this is because he understands that if you're going to be empowered, if you're going to ascend to the next level, if you're going to do greater works than these, if you're going to reach your destiny, if you're going to fulfill your purpose, at some junction in your life, I must interject in your life, I must deposit a prophetic word to empower you. And so then with that prophetic word, I must acquiesce it, I must have this prophetic faith. I must have it. It is essential because it is from that prophetic faith or trust that I now can walk in prophetic strength.
Yeah. Teach us.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Because God is a methodical God. The Bible says God's ways are higher than our ways. His thoughts are greater than our thoughts. And so God is systemic. God is systematic in this approach. He understands that I'm just not sending you word for you to hear it, but I'm sending it to fuel you.
Yes.
And when I send the word, because one would ask the question, why do I need the word? It is because when you are pursuing what God has called you to do, that you find yourself under the umbrella of weakness. You find yourself walking in the shadow of doubt. You find yourself living among the catacombs of disbelief. You find yourself wrestling within your mind a cornucopia of things that causes you not to understand, is it really God talking to me? Is it really for me to do what God called me to do? I begin to wrestle with all these things. And so then God, knowing that we would come to this place, before I get to the place, Lady Benton, he sends the word. Oh my God, help me in this place. Because the prophetic word, as I said, is not for where you are today. God is not talking about where you are today, because some of us are in a mindset right now that does not suit, that is not comparable to the prophetic word. But God understands he doesn't need your mind to be in concert with his word. Oh my God, help me in this place, Holy Ghost. God does not need our mind, our counsel. God does not need our philosophy, our ideology. God does not need us to firmly believe in what he says to send, what he says for us to do. And so then God sends the prophetic word because he understands that when you are chasing, when you are striving, that you will enter into this place of weakness. And so he sends the prophetic word to bring on prophetic strength.
Come on, yes.
I'm going to prove it to you. I'm going to prove it to you. Let's look at Habakkuk, the first chapter. I want you to see this. Let's see what he says. T.T. Jones. Let's see what the prophet says here. He says, oh Lord, how long shall I cry and you won't hear me? How long will thou cry and thou wilt not even cry out unto thee of violence, and thou wilt not save? Watch this. He says, why dost thou show me iniquity and cause me to behold grievance? For spoiling and violence are before me, and there are that raise up strife and contention. Listen what he says here, CJ. He asks the question as a prophet. Miss Priscilla, he's a prophet. And here we find that the prophet is in a place of prophetic weakness. Because he asks the question, God, how long shall I cry to you and this dilemma not be relieved? How long shall I pitch my prayer request to you, God, and there not be any relief? And so then he is in a place now where he has released a prophetic word as a prophet. He has spoken what God has told him to speak, and yet contention and strife have continued to manifest. See, one of the things I think it causes the believer struggles with this is, how is it possible for my situation to manifest, and yet it came about by some physical or tangible workings? And how am I, or how is a word able to combat something that was orchestrated in the natural? I'm going to slow it down. Let me slow it down for you. If my dilemma came about because of something physically physically manifested because of some circumstances and situations that out of the natural you can see them.
Yes, sir.
That I can show you the doctor's report.
Yes, sir.
I can show you the marks in my body. I can show you the situation. Then how is it feasible that a mere word is supposed to change that? This is why many of us, Mr. Starks, go through extreme measures and lengths to try to resolve our own situation. And so then God waits, mattress, for you to exhaust all of your physical means to the point where you throw your hands up and say, Lord, I surrender all. To the point where now, Pastor Man, the only thing that's left in my arsenal, in my armory of weaponry, is God's word. Because that's the only thing that I've not tried. Because everything else I've tried has failed. And so this is why there's such a conundrum with us. Because we cannot figure out how I'm supposed to fix my problems with the word.
Yes, sir.
Look like I ought to have to do something. And so then we find that the prophet here has released the word. And now he's asking God, why has the situation not changed? Why have things gotten better? And so he's entered into this place where he's now experiencing prophetic weakness. Let's keep going. If you go over to chapter 2, here comes God's response to his petition. He says, I'll tell you what, Habakkuk, write the vision and make it plain. What? He goes on to say, for the vision is yet for an appointed time, but the end, at the end, it shall speak and not lie, though it has not manifested yet. Look at your neighbor, tell him, wait for it. Look at your neighbor, tell him, you need to wait for it. I know you look like things are about to run out, but you need to wait for it. I know you get anxious, but you need to wait for it. I know you get nervous, but you need to wait for it. I know you get zealous, but you need to wait for it. I know you receive all type of counsel and advice from everybody and their grandmama and their dog, but CJ, you need to wait for it. And so this is why, we just grab, we've been in church a long time, chanting, we just sang the song, write the vision, make it plain. We didn't understand why is he saying that. It is because the prophet had been given a vision from God and it hadn't shown up yet. I just need to talk to somebody just for a moment. That God has given you a promise and it hadn't shown up yet. Oh, I just wish I had just two people. Maybe I can talk to you and maybe a couple folks. That God has given you a promise and time has elapsed and it hadn't shown up, but God has sent me to tell somebody, wait for it. Though it tarry, it shall not lie and it shall speak. Wait for it. Wait for it. Wait for it. He says, wait for it. This is God responding to Habakkuk in this place of prophetic weakness. Because I know what you said, God. I know you're not a man that you should lie. I know you're not the son of man that should repent. But God, even in knowing what I know, I've entered into a domain that is weakening me, God. This is why I say the prophetic word is for the believer. Because even the believer sometimes has a struggle with belief. Oh my God. I wish I had some real folk in the house that would understand that sometimes, Miss Patricia, even the believer struggles with belief. And so we get in a place What we're trying to figure out, why am I doubting as though that is not part of the believer's life, but it is, and God has already made provisions for it. God has already made provisions. And so then you have to understand the vision that God had given Habakkuk was prophetic. It was prophetic. And so even though there's been a delay, you still got to wait for it. Tell your neighbor, I'm empowered by waiting. I'm empowered by waiting. I'm empowered by waiting. You say, why are you empowered by waiting? Because I know in the end, look at the neighbor, tell me in the end, at the end. Tell your neighbor, you're just in the middle right now. You're not at the end. It says at the end, it shall speak. I know some of you don't know part of the way, but you're in the middle. It's not at the end. And so when I come to give you an answer saying the reason it hadn't manifest is because you're not at the end. You're simply in the middle. And the promise is that it would speak at the end. And we wanted to speak while I'm in the middle. And so God does not come back and recast the vision. He does not come back and reiterate nor regurgitate nor replicate what he's already said to you once before. So what he does is he sends a prophetic word to empower you during your time of prophetic. So watch. So when he says this to Habakkuk, what he's giving him is prophetic strength. Watch. Can we go a little bit further? That's all I need. Just one person to agree with me. So watch. Habakkuk cries out. How long? God says, write the vision. Wait for it. Let's hear what Habakkuk says after that. Look at chapter 3. Verse 2. He says, oh Lord, I've heard thy speech. I just need somebody to grab that part right there. He said, oh Lord, I've heard thy speech. What speech did he give him? Write the vision. And make it plain. So he says, Lord, I've heard thy speech and was afraid. He's saying, God, I was in a place of prophetic weakness, but I heard your speech. Oh my God. He says, watch. He says, I was in a place where my heart was about to faint, and I heard your word. Oh my God. I was in a place where I was about to throw in the towel, but I heard your word. I was in a place where I was about to walk out of my marriage, but I heard your word. I was in a place where I was about to give up on my healing, but I heard your word. I was in a place where I was about to give up on my ministry, but I heard your word. I was in a place where my calling didn't seem like it was about to be utilized, but I heard the word. And so then he says, revive thy word now, God. Quicken it, God. In the midst of the time, make it known. And so what he was saying, God, now that I've been in this place, revive me. Because here's the thing. Can we just give me 2 seconds? Yeah, let me use that. Because watch. I get to read this, and I ask the question, what puts him in this place? Other than the fact that what he heard initially had come to pass. Because one would think, Pastor Mac, if he's a prophet, he's gone through a certain level of maturation. For him to be given this assignment, one would understand that he had to be mature in a certain place. And so then, for him to say, God, revive, then tells me he had gotten to a place where he had been emptying out, where he had been standing on the praise and worship table, where he was the strong one in the family. Are y'all hearing what I'm saying? Where he was the one where everybody came to on your job and gave you all their issues and problems, to the point where now he's saying, God, revive me. I've given out revival to everybody else. Who's going to revive me? Oh my God. And so then he sends the prophetic word to give the believer, to give this prophet prophetic strength. Are y'all hearing what I'm saying? And so then it is the prophetic that empowers us. Watch. You say, why is the prophetic so powerful? Because it has the capacity to liberate our mind and faith. Say it again. The prophetic word can set free, can break the shackles, can remove the bondage that my mind and faith have been imprisoned in because of my dilemma. Help me, Holy Ghost. See, one of the things that when you're going through a situation and that situation does not materialize when you say, then you start developing, watch this word, a prejudice. Watch. You develop a prejudice. What do you mean by prejudice? I'm talking about a biasness. Watch this. Not towards what God said, but towards your condition. All right. See, in other words, you start having more faith in your situation than in God's word. Help me right here. And so then what the prophetic does, it comes and combats your prejudice. That's why it liberates your mind and faith. So that no longer am I prisoned, Sister Kathy, by my circumstances, because my circumstances will hold me hostage to the point where it's hard for me not to believe, because there's been such a barrage of rejection. There's been such an onslaught. Oh, I wish I had somebody in the house that would understand. There's been such a tsunami and a tidal wave of failure and rejection and disappointment to now my mind has now been imprisoned by that situation. And so then it's hard for me to believe, even though I know I should believe. Ooh, Jesus, help me, Holy Ghost. I know I'm supposed to have faith because I know the Bible says that the just shall walk by faith. I know that I should have faith because the Bible says, now faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things seen. I know that I'm supposed to have faith because the Bible says that every man is given measure of faith. I know I'm supposed to have faith because I understand being according to your faith. But the truth of the matter, because I've been in this predicament so long, my mind has now been prisoned. My mind has now been shackled. My mind has now entered into a stronghold where it's hard for me to believe, even though I know I'm supposed to believe. And so then the prophetic comes to combat that prejudice. It comes to combat that. This is why the prophetic is for the believer. Because our faith, watch this, our faith reservoir is now depleted. Our faith reservoir has now been depleted and it needs refilling. Our hope has gotten to a place where it's almost hopeless. Our strength is now strangled. Our worship is now worried. Our praise is now about to panic. Are y'all hearing what I'm saying? And so when the prophetic word comes, it searches out. It maneuvers around till it finds that prejudice and attacks it. then God refills my empty reservoir by sending a prophetic word. And see, one of the things, oh my God, pause right here. I got to hear this right here. Lady Benton, there's a sound that comes from a vessel that's full that's different from a vessel that's empty. And see, this is the problem, saints of God, is that when we come into the house of God, we don't realize that the Spirit of God knows the frequency of a vessel that's filled versus a vessel that's empty.
Wow.
See, we think, Miss Cynthia, can I talk to you for a second? See, we think the vessel is filled because it knows the words to the song. We think the vessel is filled because it can accentuate and articulate all of the Bible verses. But there's a sound that a full vessel that an empty vessel doesn't make. And so this is why the prophetic comes, because it knows there's some empty vessels in the house. The Bible says in a great house, in a great house, in a great house, there are vessels of honor and there are vessels of dishonor. There are vessels that are filled and there are vessels that are half empty. I wish I had some folk that don't mind acknowledging, Lord, I'm half empty. I know I'm not supposed to be because I'm a preacher, I'm an evangelist, I'm a prophetess. I sang on the praise and worship team. I've been in ministry for a long time, but the truth of the matter, if I could just be transparent with just a couple of y'all now, there are times in my life, man, that I'm half empty. And so God knowing my need, He sends a prophetic word to fill this reservoir back up. This is what He does. This is what He does. This is why, can I just go just a couple more minutes? Please, just a couple more minutes. This is why God understands there's a time when you need a rhema word and a prophetic word. Oh God, watch. Because understand this. Logos is the written word. And so then the rhema word is the word for now. But then there's a time when God has to send a prophetic word for later. Are y'all hearing what I'm saying? And so then God has methodically, systematically been giving us rhema word periodically. But then God pauses and says, you're getting ready to go to a place that I know you're going to endure prophetic weakness. And so then because I know that's coming, I'm going to send you a prophetic word that's going to snatch the prejudice out of you so that you can believe and that you can wait for the appointed time. Are y'all hearing what I'm saying? And so then the prophetic word empowers us because when we're coming down the home stretch, when we're in the ninth inning, when we're at the goal line, when we're in the fourth watch. I'm going to say that again. When we're in the fourth watch and we've been toiling and rowing. Oh my God. We got tired toiling and rowing. I know y'all can't see that I'm tired, but beneath this suit, beneath this shirt, beneath your outfit, beneath your hairdo, you got tired in rowing. You started out the year saying, God, for you I live and for you I die. But you come to a place where now you're toiling in rowing, and so God says, I'm not going to send you back, but I'm going to send the prophetic word. Because what the prophetic word is going to do is going to now cripple your prejudice. It's going to handcuff your prejudice. It's going to do for you what you think other folk ought to do. It's going to do for you what you think other things should do for you. Are y'all hearing what I'm saying in this place? And so then what the prophetic word does, it not only empowers us, it not only liberates our mind and faith, it then also prophetic word. You're not going to believe it. And it's for the believer. Are y'all hearing what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So then I asked God, we tight like that. So then, I'm saying, okay, I got all this. Prophetic trust, prophetic weakness, prophetic faith. I got you. I got the prejudice. I got it. It made sense. It was the first, a little difficult, but I got you. Then what's the prophetic word for us? Don't you need to know that?
Yes.
I mean, it seems like it's almost like serving you your Thanksgiving dinner and don't put no yams.
Please put the yams on.
Okay. Man, that's Mississippi there. They don't, you don't understand. You don't put the greens on there. You don't put the dressing. But then you got to come, okay, I understand all of that. Then give me the prophetic word that would liberate me, that will set me on a course, that when I get to a place down the road, not where I'm at today, that I'm going to need.
Yes, sir. Yes, Lord.
He says, go to Malachi, the 4th chapter, verse 2. He says, tell them, you shall go forth and grow up as calves of the stars. Well, to all you theologians, to all you scholars, we got to go forth part.
Yeah.
We got that part. My dilemma is, why do you give? I wish Christian was here. He would tell me this is a simile. Grow up as calves of the stall. So then I said, what is it about the calves of the stall? Watch this. Y'all don't miss this. That's why you go back to the YouTube page. You want to get this. When a heifer will give birth to her calf, that calf grows up initially in a stall. And so the only life that the calf knows is stall.
Yeah, that's right. Come on. See where you go.
Some of y'all only know one life, and it's stall life. Let me prove it real quick. You say, how do you know that, man of God? Because that's why some of y'all keep trying to get back to it. Because you believe that's the only place that exists, is stall life. And so then he says they're going to grow up as calves. So watch this. So when she gives birth to the calf, the only environment that it knows is growing up in the stall. So then when the season changes, when the page turns, when God moves, it's time to bring the calf out of the stall. But because the calf has only known the stall, it refuses to come out. Pastor Matt. Now, one would think, what idiot would want to stay in a darn stall? Stop talking about your neighbor. When that's all you know, that's all you strive for. When that's all you've experienced, that's all you'll pursue. When that's all you've been exposed to, Shabbat, that's all you aspire to be. And so then watch this. What the farmer has to do is to go into the stall and drag the calf out of the stall.
What you say? Come on, Pastor. I'm with you.
Lady Benton, I got to pull some folks. And so then, once he pulls the calf out of the stall, and he brings the calf out into an open field, all of a sudden the calf